Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to the Prosperous Yogini podcast, episode 29. And this episode is going out on the 30th of December, 2022. So we are nearly at the end of the year, nearly at the end of 2022. And it could be really easy for me in this minisode. It's another minisode, guys, festive minisode. It could be really easy for me in this episode to go through goal setting, plans for 2023, or a big reflection on what's happened in 2022. No, I just want to bring you to the here and now, my darling. Okay. I don't actually do goals. I don't do New Year's resolutions. I'm a major fan of stepping away from shouldism, the setting ourselves up basically to fail, that I should do this year and I need to do this year. I do, and I have looked at 2023 and looked at certain points and times of the year and thought about how I might like to feel that time. Like, I'm a big fan of planning how I might best use my time, because I've got, if you listen back to 2 episodes ago, my yoga boss head on is I am energetically intentional with how I use my time as the boss of my business, but I don't tie myself down to rigid goals and New Year's resolutions. For me, that just creates stress. And I can't remember the statistic, but I do know that I think the majority of New Year's resolutions, whether they're business related or whatever, people have given them up by the end of January. Why? Going back to last week's episode, was it set in alignment with what lights them up? Was it a realistic goal that they're able to stick to? What really has helped work for me over the last few years, instead of having these big goals and a whole list of things I gonna do and I should do in my business, I come up with a word. So this minisode is all about you thinking about a word that will guide you through the whole of 2023. I'm going to use the example of my word from 2022 and how that word has carried me through this year. So it is a little bit of a review of 2022, how this word has carried me through 2022 and led to things happening or not happening. So my word for 2022 was possibility. I will talk to you at the end about how you may arrive at this word, but the word possibility, I get goosebumps saying this, actually. The word possibility has literally just opened doors. I think I came with this word possibility because I was like, well, this is the possibility. If I open the door to this possibility, then it may lead somewhere or it may not. And that was so powerful because it gave me permission to try new things, but it also gave me permission to try something. And if it didn't work or it failed, to not beat myself up about it, because it was a possibility. It wasn't a definite. It wasn't a this must happen. It was a possibility. I'm going to be open to the possibility of this happening if I open this door. So the word possibility, I think this year has definitely led to this podcast. At the start of 2022, was the podcast a plan? I think it was there as a possibility, but I hadn't quite fully thought it through and when it was going to start. I don't even think I had a name for it at the start of 2022, but I definitely was open to the possibility of having a podcast, knowing that I liked talking to myself, for want of a better word. I opened the door to the possibility of starting something new. So in 2022, I created and launched my 6-month group mentoring program, the Prosperous Yogini mentoring program. And those that I'm currently working with, the results have just blown my mind. And I'm so pleased I opened the possibility both to me and to them to work with me. And what the action and the outcome of that possibility has really blown my mind. So if you're like, oh, Amy, in 2023, I might open myself to the possibility of working alongside you and joining your mentorship program. The next 6-month cohort is starting at the start of February. So just keep your eyes out on my website, on my social media for January, although you can head over to amyyoga.com, click on mentoring, and you can join the waitlist. Possibility also has led to new connections for me. So I started working with a lady called Ruth Gilby. She is she's a coach. She's a business coach specializing in supporting women working in the online world. And up until working with Ruth, I had done some training courses. I'd been in a few memberships. I scrabbled around trying to muddle through with free stuff. I had bought some courses as well and been in some group programs, membership type things, but I hadn't worked one-to-one with anyone. Ruth is literally the first sort of like coach I have ever worked with, and I just honestly wish I'd done it sooner. So for those of you that are trying to muddle through by yourselves and not sure about joining my mentorship program, honestly, the best thing I've ever done is work with Ruth, have someone like on my team, for want of a better word, that I can bounce ideas off, that I can send a web page to, that I can send copy to. Honestly, it's been transformative. And for any of you who are like maybe in a position with me where you've got an online business and you want some support growing it, go and check Ruth Gilby out on Instagram. She's just a wonderfully normal, supportive person, just so knowledgeable when it comes to that. It's that whole business side of things. Ruth isn't a yoga teacher. Ruth doesn't have any I mean, I think she practices yoga a bit, and I think she likes to do a bit more yoga, but Ruth does not have like, you know, a knowledge in terms of yoga and yoga industry. Her knowledge comes from running a business, and it's been completely transformative for me. But because of my word possibility, I opened myself to the possibility of working with someone, and I definitely resisted that for many reasons. But I think one of them was I was like that huge imposter syndrome. I was like, well, if I work with someone one-to-one and they actually get my eyes on behind the scenes of my business, they're going to be like, this person does not know what they're doing. And I had that real fear, and it was a silly fear. It was imposter syndrome. And I'm so glad, so grateful really to Ruth, and also to that word possibility, because possibility had been quite powerful in allowing me to try something and be open to the possibilities of succeeding and open to the possibility of failing, and that be okay. And I'd learned from failing too. So the word possibility had led me to Ruth. The word possibility had also, in the last kind of like phase of this year, led to something very exciting that's been going on behind the scenes that I don't think I've really talked about. I have mentioned it once in a social media post, and not everyone's going to see that I've seen that post. So I applied for some digital funding. I opened myself up to the possibility that I might get this funding. Like, I think previous Amy would have gone, nah, I won't get that funding. That's not for me. And the funding application itself, it wasn't straightforward. It wasn't easy. And there were moments of discomfort when I was doing this form, for sure. Right. So I filled out the funding application, and I've been successful. So I've had a digital grant of £5,000, which I'm currently using to work with Ruth more and work with a lady called Nina Gordon. And I say this without like, she's way more than this, but she's effectively the tech side of my business now. She's come into my business. She's way more than a tech VA. But that's probably the best way to describe her. If you're like, who is Nina and what's she doing? Nina's come into my business and has actually, it's already happened, helped me set up running Facebook ads and Instagram ads. So this is something I've completely resisted in my business up until now. I had an understanding of Facebook ads. I dabbled a few years ago in just boosting ads. I'd done a bit of training. I was aware of like how the whole Facebook ad world worked and stuff like that, but definitely had been resisting that as a one method, because there are lots of strategies you can use to grow your business, and organic growth is still very much, I would say, king. But in terms of like where I'd gone in terms of this word possibility, and I'm now like working more with yoga teachers, I was quite aware that in terms of those that were already in my community weren't necessarily yoga teachers, weren't teachers looking for more training or looking for mentorship. And I was like, well, in order to have the possibility to grow this side of my yoga business, I need to invite more yoga teachers into my world. And of course, that is happening organically. But alongside organic growth, what would be great is if I could run some Facebook, Instagram ads, invite people onto my mailing list. So Nina and this digital funding and the support of Ruth has helped me set up my first Facebook, Instagram ad list building campaign. Humongous learning curve. I tell you what, absolutely, completely flung myself open to the possibility of Facebook ads going wrong, Facebook bots saying that ad's not allowed, all of this stuff that can happen when you enter into the world of using Facebook ads to grow your business. But that word possibility has also led me to work. I'm now not actually really working alone. I have both Nina and Ruth supporting me in the digital side of running my business, which is massive, because whether I've realized it or intentionally done it or not, you know, I can't really accurately describe it, but probably 80% of my yoga business now is an online business. 80% of my yoga business is involved in some form of, you know, digital delivery and digital courses. So my yoga boss mindset was like, I need to, you know, I didn't train in this. I trained as a yoga teacher, and I would love some support in doing this. And I'm forever telling you guys, you know, when something's hard in your business, when there's lots of resistance, when it's really out of your zone of genius and like into your zone of incompetence, which is where I would say my knowledge, understanding of Facebook ad strategy and setting up Facebook business manager is, then the best thing you can do, in fact, really the only thing you can do to really make it happen, is to bring people in. So possibility has been absolutely huge in my business this year. And I do think opening myself up to possibly failing has really helped me to take action in doing something. Like even today, I had a call with Ruth, a one-to-one call with Ruth, and we're talking about, I have a launch coming up, a live launch event coming up mid-January. Keep your eyes peeled. This is my first official live launch, and I'm a bit like, it's okay. Like I'm completely at peace with it going really well, or things not going according to plan, making mistakes, because I 100% know I'm just going to open myself to the possibility of seeing what the impact of a live launch is in my business, and I will learn so much from that. And I'm not expecting it for it to all to go tickety boom perfect, because it's the first time I've done something, and I am opening myself up to the possibility of this happening. So my word of 2022 was possibility. I'm not going to share my word for 2023 with you guys. I do have it. I will share it with you. I'll share my word at the end. It's like a cliffhanger. What, Amy, you're not going to share it? We have to wait until next December to find out. Yes, you do. I'm going to keep my word close to my heart. And at the end of the year, next year, I will share it with you and share the impact this word has had on my business. Isn't that so exciting? So if you're like, okay, no New Year's resolutions, thanks, Amy. I needed to be let off the hook on that one, and just stepping back from rigid goals that actually may initiate a stress response, and who wants that, right? I'm in for this word thing. How do I go about doing it? Your word is going to come from, bit woo-woo here, right? Your word is going to come from your higher self, universal intelligence, whatever you want to see it as. Just that thing, that inner knowing, is going to give you this word. So it's this inner voice that will come to us quietly. he or she or it, whatever you see this, I call it universal intelligence, and my higher self is what connects to universal intelligence. You may have another way of communicating or understanding that, but it's just this, your intuition, your inner knowing. Okay, how do I tap into it to get the word? How do I move beyond like the noise of the mind stuff to really get down to what that word is that will guide me through 2023? You've got to get yourself into a place where you're going to pick it up, where you're going to listen to it. So meditation, sitting quietly 5-10 minutes and seeing what arises, inviting that word to come. That's one way. And I do that. I just find my higher self, surprise, comes to me at random times. So I'll talk about the shower gods, like things come to me in the shower. I know I'm not the only person that talks about shower gods. And surfing, this is why I love surfing for lots of reasons, but definitely for me, surfing's that place where I think it's such a in the now activity. You haven't got your phone, you haven't got distractions, you're thinking about conditions and what's going on in the now. You're taken away from your everyday life in that thinking brain, and that allows you to access that higher self, that universal intelligence. And often like ideas, thoughts, and come to me when I'm surfing. So they're the ways that I receive stuff, where I will receive my word for 2023. When I do receive a word, I don't immediately jump on it going, this is it. I just let it sit with me for a bit and just check I have actually received the right word, that there isn't something else. And if you're thinking, Amy, this is crazy, this is how I work. This is how I roll. Maybe I am crazy, but I have my word for 2023. And the other day I was having a bit of a wobble about it. So I stepped back and thought, have I got the right word here? And I thought about changing it to a different word or adding a word in front of it. And all of it felt just really out of alignment. I'm like, no, the word that has come to me is the word. So how will you know what the word is? You're going to have to tune into the Prosperous Yogini podcast in December 2023 to find out my word. But just so excited. If I think about my word of 2022 and possibility, and we're still in 2022, so it's still my word. I just see 2023 as a sea of possibility, and I'm super excited to get back to you in 12 months' time, tell you what my word of 2023 was and how that guided me through 2023. And I guess just to finish, because it is meant to be a mini-sode, to finish, this kind of leans back, for want of a better word, leans back into last week's episode of leaning into what lights us up, leaning into what we love, leaning into activities that vibrationally are what we want to do. And when we set ourselves goals or, rigid things we might do, does that stop us sometimes from leaning into what we want to do when an opportunity arises? And that's why I love the word possibility, because possibility allowed me to try things. Because sometimes you're like, well, I don't know if that's going to light me up. I don't know if I want to do that. And I'm like, better not do it in case I don't love it. No, if you don't know, you don't go, right? So sometimes we'll try things and we'll be like, oh my God, I love this. Why haven't I done it sooner? And sometimes we try things and we're like, this isn't for me. And you have that feeling. And with your yoga boss mindset on how you are going to be mindful of you use your time in your business, you have the courage to say, thank you for the opportunity, but I'm actually going to stop. All right, my darlings. So if you want to share your words with me, I would love to hear them. Head over, probably best to DM me on Instagram, although I'm rubbish from DMs. So why would you do that? But that's what all the people say, don't they? Head over to my Instagram, Amy Yoga Teacher Trainer. I do pick up DMs in the end. Head over to Amy Yoga Teacher Trainer. If you want to send me your word in my DMs, I will have a look at them. I love to hear them. And I'd also love you in 12 months' time to share the impact of your word. What if you just can't do this wrong? Don't get too tied up in getting the right word and tuning into your higher self, and it must be the word that comes from your higher self. The word is a word. And just roll with it for 12 months. All right, my darlings. Well, this is exciting. I will see you in 2023. Keep your ears and eyes opened. Start of January, as you probably heard. There is a launch event coming. There's a free event coming that's really going to help you in your yoga business. And of course, I would totally love to work with you in my mentorship program. The doors to my mentorship program are reopening, I think, on the 30th of January. We're kicking off early February. So if you want to be in that next 6 month cohort, head over to amyyoga.com and get on that waiting list. Keep your ears and eyes open on social media and the podcast, because you get to hear about this free event that's coming. And in the meantime, have a lovely new year, and I'll see you in 2023.